Well, I guess Aftershocks is a pretty appropriate name here today because just got back from the Evil Dead movie literally about 20 minutes ago. I'm going to be honest with you, the movie sucked. I know in my review I mentioned I was really hyped up for this one, and maybe I overhyped myself too much. I don't know. It sucked. It really did. The problem with the movie was, I noticed Sam Raimi himself did not write this one. I know he, Tapper, and Campbell all produced this movie, but they didn't actually write it as far as I could tell by the credits. And the movie writers, it seemed like they couldn't tell what they were going for in this movie. Were they trying to get the camp of the original? Were they trying to go for a ghost story? Were they trying to go for a torture porn? Or were they trying to go for The Exorcist? I saw all four of those in that movie. And it could never really even out. It seemed like it kept jumping from one bit to the next next, and I don't know. It just didn't work in this film. I'll get this straight out of the way. I wasn't going into this movie expecting the original Evil Dead. I wasn't going in there expecting this fun, campy, drag me to hell type experience where it's not meant to be taken seriously. I knew this time they were actually trying to take it seriously, much like the first one. It just didn't work out that well. And in this movie, it's just as bad, but not in a good way. Yeah, I went there with my sister and my girlfriend. Like I said, we just got back, and we all thought it sucked. We really did. It's the stupidity of the movie. It's one of those movies where it's mostly driven by just people being stupid. And the only likable character in the entire movie is the one who's not being stupid the whole time. Well, let me go over the characters while I'm here. Alright, I'm just going to refer to them by their Evil Dead names except for one. You'd have the Cheryl character, you have the Ash character, you have Linda, yeah, he has a girlfriend, and you also have Scott. The only one that's new is Shelley is actually a person called Olivia in this one. No, none of them are the original names. I don't know if I made that clear. But the Shelley character is the only one that's really different. So I'm going to refer to her as Olivia. She's a registered nurse. And that was one good thing they did. They at least gave a little backstory to each of the characters, as well as why they were at the cabin in the first place. Cheryl's character, Mia, she's there because she's got a drug problem, and they're hoping to basically rehab her through cold turkey and just keeping her isolated. They point out that they've tried this once before and it didn't work because she left after about 8 hours. What they expected to do this time, I don't know, but whatever. But that's the characters, and believe it or not, this time, the Scott character is the one I liked. He was the only sensible, intelligent person throughout the entire movie. He was the only one saying, dudes, something is fucked up here. This book is evil. Nobody wanted to listen to that, though. No. They're just crazy people. Yeah, because, you know, crazy. Cheryl's sitting there spitting blood out in the classic blood flood scene, but she's just crazy. That's normal otherwise. Her eyes have turned yellow, her skin is pale, she's all deformed looking. She's just crazy, though. She's not, you know, she's not possessed or anything like that. Yeah, that's where a lot of the problems with this movie come in. Oh, the registered nurse character, Olivia. Oh, God. Where do I start with how wrong she was? Everything she did in this movie was just wrong. Okay, how do I begin with her? What mistake do I start with here? Well, first off, the Cheryl character... Okay, the tree rape scene is in the movie, sort of. And they pull her in after that, and our registered nurse comes out after tending to her, and they suggest actually taking her to a hospital, and she's like, I did everything a hospital would do. Really, you didn't restrain the raving coke addict? You didn't even, she didn't even bandage her wounds. Because she got all chopped up from all the thorns and shit of the trees, and she didn't even bandage. I think she wrapped a bandage around her hand, and that was it. I'm not even actually sure she did that. It was hard to tell at some points. And what's more, this girl, I have to give something away here. I'll try and keep the spoilers limited. But the Cheryl character then boils herself with a hot shower. I'm not sure just how easy that is to do, but she does. It's part of the demonic possession thing. And we find out our registered nurse, not even a first aid kit to be seen. She didn't bring anything with her. No Neosporin. And you'd think that'd be the first thing she'd have, is some Neosporin, some bandages. The basic stuff you'd find in any first aid kit. Nothing. That's my point of this character. This nurse character is fucking stupid. Like I said, she brought nothing with her. Cheryl's completely boiled up now, and they just leave her alone again. No attempts to restrain this cokehead who's going out of her fucking mind. At least as far as they know, that's all she is. And you'd think somebody who's trained to recognize these symptoms would know what to do in this situation, but she just acts completely out of character throughout the whole movie. Thankfully, oh, no spoilers. I'm not going to give away what happens to Olivia. I'm going to be good here. That's just a couple of her things, though. The Scott character does make a stupid mistake. I mean, even though at least he realizes his mistake. He's the one who reads from the book. And it's not a tape recorder this time. He's actually reading from the book itself. Despite the book having warnings written in blood inside of it, do not read from this book. Okay, I can't argue too much here. I probably would have done the same exact thing. I'm the type who would have been curious. I would have gotten everybody in trouble. But you know, just like I said in my review, you don't fuck with demon resurrecting passages. And, yeah, immediately we get the Force in this movie. The Force is the thing in the Evil Dead films. I don't know if I made it clear in my review. You never see it. You're not even sure if the characters ever see it, because it's just Sam and Bruce running with a shaky camera through the woods. But the characters always react. They always run from it. In this movie, it's done wrong, though. It just doesn't work. It does not work in this movie. And to get to that, I kind of had to explain something that happens in the beginning. They do kind of a... prequel's not the word. You know, like a 3 months earlier thing. Right in the beginning of the film. And... you can tell, where am I going? Stop. Okay, refocus. Okay, yeah, they do this 3 months earlier thing, and it actually shows our first possessed victim, and basically the father of this girl ends up blowing her head off. And this is where I mentioned earlier about the ghost movie part. She is the Force in this movie, and it just doesn't work, because now you've given a face to this entity that's always just been an entity, and it doesn't work. And yeah, they do all the classic ghost movie jump scares throughout this thing. And unfortunately, it just doesn't work, because just like movies like Sinister, which a lot of these scenes really do remind me of Sinister, it's not scary at all. It's just jump out frightening at you. And the trailers make it look a lot torture porn, but thankfully they really do stay away from that. There's only a couple quick shots of it. So, okay, to their credit, they at least stayed away from that stuff. The trailer shows her cutting her tongue in half at one point, and that's pretty much the worst. Though, there's one scene involving a meat cutter that I think they really would have been better off if they didn't show that one. Let the audience picture it. While I'm on that, there's a lot of stuff that's physically impossible in this movie. People are doing things that you cannot do. I hate to give away a spoiler, but that's the biggest one. Spoiler alert for the next couple moments of the film, of this review, or whatever you'd call it. Spoiler alert. Right near the end of the movie, a girl literally gets a Jeep flipped onto her arm. And first of all, it's pouring rain outside. The ground is completely muddy. She should have been able to just slide her arm right out. It should have been loose and lubricated enough. But no, instead, she literally, from about here, rips off her own fucking arm. You can't do that! You can't do... Humans can't withstand that much pain. Plus, the amount of force it would have taken for her to physically rip off her own arm like that would have been impossible. You couldn't do that. So yeah, this movie, I hate to say it, it is not a good movie. And every time it does start to get good, because there are good moments in the film, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of really good spots within this film, but every time it starts to get good, they go ahead and they do something really stupid, and really lame, and completely ruin the good mood of it. And this happens repeatedly. I'm not joking with you. They start to do a classic Evil Dead chainsaw scene, and then ruin that with the... That's right at the end, actually, so I guess I should point that out. The classic Evil Dead chainsaw scene is ruined by the car flipped right over on her scene. Anyways, spoilers done. At least, if there's any important spoilers, I'll keep them out of it from this point. Most of it's... you should already see coming. It does follow the traditional story of the Evil Dead for the most part. In fact, I think in order... Yeah, for the most part, it actually does follow the order of the Evil Dead. Yeah, there's another scene right in the beginning I forgot about, too, where only one person can smell the death in this room. Or in this cabin, which, by the way, I'm still wondering how that cabin had running water and working electric lights. They never established that there was a generator anywhere. Oh, I gotta get to the rest of the characters, too. But, this scene that I was talking about earlier... Oh, hey, baby. No? Okay. Where was I? Yeah, that was my cat. Yeah, I lost it, but oh well, we'll get to the characters. I'm sure I'll come back to it. If not, no big deal. No important thing here. The characters. The Linda character, totally inconsequential to the film. You could have written her out and nobody would have noticed a difference. There was one point when she spoke, oh god, she says that line. Shelley's line in the original. She said, "What happened to her eyes?" Does nobody else notice everything else that happens to these characters? They're always concerned about the eyes. You know, again, she just sat there and spit up gallons of blood onto this other woman's face. What happened to her eyes? Her skin is torn to shit and boiling. What happened to her eyes? I don't give a fuck about the eyes at this point, honey. I really don't. But that's the line. At that point in the movie, my sister actually leaned over to me and asked me, is that the first time she's spoken in this film? It's not, but that's how unimportant this girl comes out in the movie, because she's just not there. They never do anything with her character. She's just in the background the whole time. In fact, I don't think it's even established that she's Ash's girlfriend, and he's not Ash, unfortunately. He's nothing like the boss character that Ash was, but oh well. He is wearing blue throughout the whole movie. That was a nice touch. The Cheryl character, she's one of the better ones, actually. To tell the truth, she was probably the highlight of the movie, was her character. And yeah, partly because she's possessed through half of it. She does have this really bad William Shatner scene shortly after the tree rape when she's trying to convince Ash to take her home. Really bad. Like I said, she's Shatnerizing real bad. We have to get out of here. Now. It's bad. But she's one of the better characters, and yeah, she's the Exorcist part of the movie I mentioned earlier. Everything about her character is pretty much ripped straight from The Exorcist, and is probably some of the better moments in the film. The book itself was cool. The book looked really, really good in this movie. Definitely looked more realistic than all the other ones did, and it actually did look like it was kind of, you know, bound in flesh. Not inked in blood, but bound in flesh, I'll buy. I didn't quite like the pages. I didn't quite like how the book was used in the story, but I'll let it go. My sister pointed out that, yeah, there was a lot of Hitchcockisms throughout it, but it was just really poorly done. Oh, there's one more character. I forgot about this one. There's a dog. Yeah, there's a dog in this movie. He's in about 10 minutes of the movie, and I think in 3 shots. Yeah. They make a big deal out of him, and yet don't actually put him in the movie at all. I'm not spoiling anything. Somebody kills the dog. And like I said, hard to feel bad. We forgot the dog was there. I actually forgot the dog was in the movie at that point when they found his corpse. Oh, that was that part I was talking about earlier, the corpses of animals. When they first enter, Cheryl is the only one who can smell the death in the film, or in the cabin. And oddly enough, they blame it because she's the coke addict, and okay, I can buy that. Her nose might be a little hypersensitive right now. But that's because there's like 20 dead cats hanging in the basement. Not good. By the way, that was kind of cute. They didn't use gourds, they used dead cats. Why not? Sort of thing you'd find in my basement. Yeah, but no, they didn't use gourds. They used dead cats in this one. And I'm sorry, you have some 3-month-old dead cats, and that's at the state of decomposition. I'd give it about 3 months. Yeah, you've got all these dead cats in there, and no, it's never established as to why they're there. Even in the opening scene when we see the cats being killed, it's never actually showed why the cats are being killed. But yeah, we've got all these dead cats hanging there. You're telling me that these cats recently decomposing and only the coke addict can smell them? Are you freaking serious? Oh, and of course, do I have to tell you this? Her being the, you know, coke addict is the reason they start blaming all of her weird actions on her. Which, okay, I could possibly guess some of them, like her trying to flee in the car. By the way, good job keeping her at the cabin, guys. She leaves right after the tree rape sequence. She's fucking out of there. Leaves the rest of them behind. But yeah, I could see that being because of the withdrawals. I could see her doing stuff like that. You know, she's trying to get back to civilization. She needs her coke. Fine, I'll buy that. But, you know, all the other possessed shit, no, I wouldn't say coke. And then another nice stupid line here is one of them suggests, Ash actually suggests to Scott that, well, maybe you know, they're not demonically possessed, maybe it's some sort of virus. And Scott goes, what sort of virus would make you tear your own face off? And okay, I don't know of any personally, but really any virus that causes dementia could cause you to do that. That was actually kind of a stupid remark on his. But like I say, the movie is just, it's full of that stuff, and it's full of the characters doing the stupid things, doing the classic horror stupid, but not doing it right. It doesn't even come off as enjoyable in the classic stupid horror movie sort of way, because this movie is trying to take itself seriously, or it appears to be, and that's part of the hard parts about this movie. You can't tell when they're doing it on purpose and when they're not. There's a lot of points in this movie, it's like, are you deliberately making this character that stupid? How many times are they going to fall for Cheryl's "I'm all better now" trick? She uses it multiple points in the movie, and they go for it every single time. I can't believe they keep falling for that. And then you've got Super Scott. A good bit involving the Scott character. This guy, he gets slammed against a toilet, bashed with a toilet, beaten with a crowbar, thrown around a room, stabbed with a big shard of glass right around in here, to the point when it gets pulled out, it's gushing blood everywhere. And he also gets shot numerous times with a staple gun and beaten with a crowbar. And all it takes to kill him is a little poke in the ribs near the end of the movie. Yeah, he gets a box cutter blade gets inserted about here and it kills him. All that, and that's what it took to kill the guy. See, the movie's just filled with this really lazy writing, and that's the problem with it. It's why I really can't recommend this movie. I mean, if it was by any other name other than Evil Dead, I would not have even bothered. I wouldn't have wasted my time. And that's something you gotta think about with this movie is it's only Evil Dead in name and the basic plot. It doesn't feel like an Evil Dead film at all. It feels like just this mishmash of horror films, and most of the ones that I don't like. There's a lot of jump scares in this movie, and unfortunately they do have some good scares in the film too. But it just gets drowned out by cheap jump scares and loud noises. In fact, I'd say half the cuts in this movie, from one shot to the next, or one scene to the next, is punctuated by a loud noise, be it, the meat cutter or something else making extremely loud noises. Yeah, like I'd say about half the cuts are punctuated by that. It gets really annoying really fast. Overall, I can't recommend this movie. I'm not the type to try and give movies numerical ratings, but in truth, I would not go higher than a 6, and that's pushing it. I'd say 5 is probably the best I'm willing to give this movie out of 10. It was such a disappointment, it really was. It could have been so much better than it was. It just didn't work, unfortunately. I'm not sure what they were going for, but whatever they did go for didn't work. Yeah, I know I keep coming up to a closing comments here. But before I go, let me go over some of the good parts of this movie. Okay, there are good parts of this movie, and most of it, unfortunately, is homages to the original. Though I don't think that was the intention. For instance, a good homage was the Michigan State sweater that Cheryl was wearing. Nice touch there, because Linda was wearing it in the first movie. Not the same sweater, but a Michigan State sweater. I wonder how many people caught that. I know I was the only one in my group who spotted it. The magnifying glass necklace does come back. It does. I'm so happy for that. It's not the same necklace. It's not quite a magnifying glass, but you can tell that is supposed to be the magnifying glass necklace. And as much as I hated that thing, I'm glad to see it made its return. The tree rape scene made its return. That's good. There were a lot of parts that did touch on the original. The blood flood, that was there. The chainsaw was there. So, like I say, there were good parts of the movie. And most of those were the homages. But, like I say, I'm not sure it was intentional that those were supposed to be the only good parts of the film. Certainly not the scariest horror movie I've ever seen, or I will ever experience, as the title suggests. That might still actually go to The Exorcist. And as much as this movie was trying to be The Exorcist, it was not. So, ultimately, and yeah, I think I'm going to close up here. I've gone over most of my points, and yeah, I think this is a good point to quit. It just doesn't work, guys. I'm sorry, and I really hate to say this about the movie, because I'm such a big fan, and I did want it to be good. And I went into really, I was hoping it was going to be good. And for a couple seconds, right in the beginning, it really looked like it was going to be. But it just wasn't. Sorry.